the metal reviews.
Last of Us.
Yeah.
Remastered for the PlayStation 4. We're here with a review of this game. This game came out on PS3 about a year ago.
Yeah, right around a year ago.
And Naughty Dog has remastered it for PlayStation 4. They've updated textures, sound, what else did they do? They added like some cool commentary, director's commentary if you beat the game, on your New Game Plus playthrough. The game directors will talk about certain parts of the game. All the DLC is included, all the multiplayer DLC, the Left Behind DLC. They added a photo mode. Man, they've added a couple other things, but I'm blanking on them. It'll come to me eventually. So yeah, this came out July 29th, and we're here to talk about this fucking game.
Yeah.
Queef never played The Last of Us.
No, I did not.
So,
I played a little bit of it, like, sitting over here, but
tell
not
me your
terrible.
thoughts on the single player jam.
This is probably one of the... Actually, no, it's not probably. This is easily the most emotional game I've ever played. This game is very masterfully written to hit you where it hurts, and it does on quite a few occasions. You really feel for the characters in a lot of the situations. Later on, I might try to avoid spoilers, but Ellie becomes emotionally distressed kind of towards the later portions of the game, and you kind of see that. And the one character you meet halfway through, Henry, you kind of see him kind of almost just kind of have a mental breakdown at one point, and you can kind of, the voice acting really fits that. Like, it's kind of these awesome moments where you feel, or when like Joel and Ellie get in an argument, you know what I mean? It's not forced. I feel like some games are forced to have these very emotional parts where you're supposed to care about characters. Where this game, it just happens. The intro I think is perfect for this game, just setting it up for
It's the saddest intro of all time in a video game.
Oh yeah, it's
no
just
ifs, ands, buts, arguments.
I was not ready. Even though I'd played that part of the game before when I was over, I was not ready for the feels that moment was going to give me.
I'm playing through on my third time and it still hits.
The only part that I feel like the game could hit is when Joel and Ellie are arguing later on after you meet Tommy. When they're arguing about, that whole situation. I just feel like that was not a big enough moment. That's like the only problem like that I have with the entire single player. I like the game mechanics. I think it's very masterfully written, or masterfully concocted to be cool, where it's like, the listen mode's really helpful, which I found out in survival mode doesn't exist. And I mean, just scavenging for things is so necessary. And also, it makes finding collectibles a little bit easier, because, I mean, there's like 4 different sets of collectibles to go through and try to find, which have trophies tied to them, but you don't have all... But, I mean, since you're already kind of scratching around everywhere, you probably have a good chance of finding a lot of them, so... Yeah.
Sam and I reviewed the PlayStation 3 version a while back, so you can also check out that.
Yeah, we'll put a link up over here somewhere.
For more thoughts, because my thoughts personally have not changed about this game. This is still one of my favorite games of all time, and to be honest with you, every time I play it, it climbs higher up my list. And towards to where this might be getting very close to being my favorite game of all time. It's so hard to describe this game's story, because it's just something you can't sit down and describe. You have to play it. You have to experience it yourself, and that's what I'll encourage you all to do. Just stop listening to us talk about this and just go play the fucking game. But first of all, Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson are just... Their performances in this game are just phenomenal. This is the best voice acting performance that I think Troy Baker will ever do, period. I don't know if he can ever really top this.
Yeah.
I mean, and just the way the characters are written, the animations for them, just even in the facial animations, it's just down to the slightest of details. This game's like a fucking
movie.
playable movie.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic because I feel every cutscene's just, it's important. You feel like you're there, like you're in the situation. You get really into it. You get really tied to it. Like he said, you care about every character that you meet. And it's just, it's an emotional journey that I feel every gamer should experience. I was listening to Podcast Beyond from IGN, and there's Colin Moriarty on there. And they were talking about The Last of Us Remastered. And I think he said one of the best quotes about The Last of Us. And he said, The Last of Us is not a game that you think you'll want to play. Like, The Last of Us is mandatory gaming if you are a video game fan. If you're a hardcore gamer, you should say. It's mandatory. And the gameplay is so well done as well. I feel it's equally as well done. It's intense, very intense, especially when you get in huge, groups of infected. I mean, the enemies are well done, because, you get swarmed, and you can seriously get fucked up pretty quick, And then there's the clickers, which the clickers will just kill you instantly. There's the bloaters, which are like clickers, just they're harder to kill. They're still, if they get you, a one-hit KO. I mean, the gameplay's intense. I think a lot of people complain about the AI, and that's the only shortcoming that I can maybe see of this. Not the maybe the enemy AI, but it's just weird how in certain situations, Ellie will run right. You'll be hiding from an enemy, and Ellie will run right past that enemy, and the enemy won't do anything. It's just like, this girl just ran by me, but I'm not going to do anything. And then she's going to kill me, right? Yeah. She pops around the corner. That's the only thing about this. Other than that, I see absolutely nothing wrong with this game and with gameplay. Sam?
Sneaking.
Yeah. And the stealth gameplay is fantastic as well. Like, there's this section towards the end of the game where there's a lot of enemies and a lot of big enemies, and you don't want to fight all of them or you'll probably get pretty fucked up, especially on a harder difficulty. So the stealth aspects are just as well done as well. I mean, and sometimes stealth is your best way because, you only have a limited amount of supplies. And the thing is, too, about this game that's great, the harder the difficulty, the less supplies. So therefore, you really, really, really have to make, that really important decision. Do I make a medical kit or do I make a Molotov? And it gets down to that. And it's awesome. And even just the small things like hand-to-hand combat, it's so satisfying. Satisfying in just a horrible way when Joel takes his guy's head and shoves it into a wall and his head basically explodes. This is a brutal game, and it's just satisfying and just great in every single way.
The other thing I like about the gameplay is how where some games they make every fight different, but they introduce something maybe really big that makes it different. Whereas this game, there's slight things that make it different. Like in Pittsburgh, when you're dealing with the that armored truck, that you have to sneak past that, or at least attempt to, or run past it, and then the whole sniper part is every single fight has something a slight bit different. When you play as Ellie, you basically she has her pocket knife. She has an unlimited shield.
And you have to play that differently as well because, she can't take as much damage as Joel.
And her listen mode doesn't go out for as far.
Exactly.
It's like every fight is different, whereas I feel like playing games I'll make the obvious reference, which would be or maybe not so obvious, like Call of Duty, where it's you're kind of doing the same thing over and over again and shooting people, which is the enemies are in different positions and there's different places you can take cover. Whereas this is literally every single fight has something slightly different about it.
And they're smartly placed as well.
Yeah.
There's your moments where you're just exploring and traveling, and then there's your combat situations, which is they're perfectly well spaced out. Yeah. And I always thought it was a really good balance between infected and human enemies as well. Very cool. the story is just one of the best stories that you will play in a video game. One of the best campaigns. And it's a meaty campaign. I mean, it'll take you 12 to 15 hours to get through this campaign. And definitely, if you're up for a challenge, go for the harder difficulties as well. But I would say if you're playing this for the first time, play it on a lower difficulty and just soak it all in. Go to multiplayer quick?
Sure, let's do the multiplayer. I really like the multiplayer. It's honestly my favorite multiplayer. And I mean, it's weird. Even though this game came out last year, this is my favorite multiplayer that's come out this year. I mean, I haven't really wanted to play a game, like, multiplayer-wise as frequently, especially now that I have options, unlike when I played Assassin's Creed all the time, because that was the only game I had. Like, I want to play The Last of Us all the time, multiplayer.
Mm.
I like it because it's basically Gears of War, but at a slower pace. And it's because of one function, listen mode.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally just changes the entire pace of it, and it makes it awesome.
Yeah, and also it carries over the crafting system, which that really can change things because, maybe I should go find some supplies so I can make a Molotov and just wreck the team or something,
Yeah, I also do like how it's a lot of balance though, whereas like you don't have unlimited listen mode like you do in the campaign, and also I think just about everything, like a Molotov, it isn't just you can't just have a rag and alcohol. You need bindings too. Like they make a lot of the more offensive things. They're a lot more difficult to make.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what I mean? The really good stuff you're not going to get your hands on that easy.
I never played the multiplayer on PlayStation 3 just because, I wanted friends to play with. But now that it's here, it's just like, that's all I want to play. Like, the other night I was like, I'm going to play something different. But I'm like, no, I don't. I want to play more Last of Us multiplayer. This multiplayer also has a unique spin to it because you choose a faction. You choose the Fireflies or the Hunters. And then you're stuck with that faction for 12 weeks. And basically, it's one day, one match per day, and you go through and you have to get a certain amount of supplies per match to keep all of your survivors healthy. And if you don't reach that goal, then they'll either get hungry or sick, and it becomes very, very stressful. It's almost kind of frustrating to the point where you can't really just sit down and play with your friends and just relax and have a fun time. Like, you almost have to become
a bit of an asshole. Yeah,
a bit of an asshole, a bit selfish, and sometimes I just don't like that. Sometimes I don't like stealing my friend's kills just because, I need it really bad. So that got, like once you get to about week 6, you get there's these other challenges that pop up where there'll be a malaria outbreak, and that can wipe out 100% of your population. If you lose, you have to have one person alive the whole time, so you could lose everything, and then you have to start all over. So if you don't hit that, and then you'll choose a challenge. Down 6 guys in 3 matches. Get 3 downs with a shotgun, in 3 matches.
Shiv executions.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Stuff like that. But the thing is, too, is the more you choose a challenge, the harder it fucking gets. So you really got to spread your fucking shit. So that gets just very, very, very stressful. So if you don't perform, then you're just kind of fucked, and it's kind of like you're not having fun. But then, man, just play this multiplayer with friends. I don't think I'll ever play this multiplayer by myself. As much as I love it, it's just you need a team of 4 people to communicate. And it's so satisfying when your team's just locked in and you were destroying everybody, or you had this really great comeback. And also, I feel the map designs are really well done. I mean, most of the maps are taken out of single-player places and areas and locations, but they're tweaked enough just to really be well done. I mean, you can basically get flanked almost everywhere, so it's kind of wide open. So I love this multiplayer. I think it's really unique, and then you can have your classes with a whole bunch of perks, and it has that kind of like point system that was introduced in Black Ops 2,
Yeah.
which that's pretty cool. So you can mix and max. Mix and match how you would like. And then there's customization. You can wear really queer hats. I love wearing queer hats. They're just goofy, like a stupid fisherman hat or
you can also buy
something.
Them. Like yeah. I might actually maybe if I ever did it, because I mean some of the ones you buy, I mean of course they look the coolest because you know you're paying for them, but this game also has a couple different game modes. There's Supply Run, which is basically almost like a team deathmatch. You have 20 respawns, and so it's very Gears of War, especially Gears 3.
It's literally Gears of War.
There's Survivor, which is you get one life and is a lot slower paced, and then you get Interrogation, which I guess is kind of I haven't played it. I've seen gameplay of it where it's basically instead of executing people, you interrogate them. And you have to get like I think 4 interrogations. Then you find where the other team's lockbox is, and then you have to pick it open, which takes about a minute. But you're completely defenseless. Like you're actually sitting there picking it open. So like it's interesting, and I like I said I agree with Tyler everything about this multiplayer. This is one of those multiplayers where I feel like if you do really good occasionally at this multiplayer, then you're good at this multiplayer. I mean, this is a multiplayer that is hard to be consistently good at.
True.
It's just a challenging game, but if you can like do okay a good bit of the time, then you're a good player of this.
It's easy to be consistently bad at.
Oh, yeah.
I found that out.
Oh yeah, it's easy to suck completely.
Yeah, but communication is key, which is the best. Personally, I've had more fun playing this multiplayer than I did in Destiny. And I might even think it'll be that way, even when Destiny drops. You know, this multiplayer is just so much fun. And just how you can have... I like multiplayer that is extremely balanced, and you can just come back and win with a good team and a great effort. Something that didn't happen much in Destiny or never happens in Call of Duty. That's one reason why I always loved Halo multiplayer. It's more team-based, and you could come back and win at any time if you really just started kicking ass. That's what I love about this multiplayer. So yeah, and it has just as intensive gameplay as the campaign. I mean, when there's dudes in your face, you're just like, fuck. Like, dude, what am I doing? It has that stealth aspect to it. It's great.
The only thing that I almost wish was that since this game is very much, there's the zombies infected, whatever you want to call them, that it maybe I would, at least to me, it would have made sense to have some kind of mode where they play a part.
Yeah, that could be very cool.
But I mean, who knows? Like I was kind of saying earlier, since this is a remastered, it's kind of extended the shelf life of The Last of Us. The shelf life of the original one lasted almost about a year, basically, up until this new one. So I mean, maybe they could be like, oh, well, we're gonna put more crap out for it. I mean, they could. I mean, I know they're working on Uncharted. Naughty Dog's working heavily on Uncharted right now. But I mean, it'd be interesting to see something like that pop up. But I mean, this is a great multiplayer anyway. So
yeah, I agree. A mode like that just seems very natural and very. That could be some very intense.
But then again, who knows? Maybe it didn't work, and that's why it's not in there.
That could be it. Maybe there was technical limitations with the PS3, and they could do it now.
Yeah. So.
This is the best game on PlayStation 4. Hands down. This is the best thing that you can buy for the system. If you bought a system for this game, then that's great. And I feel that a lot of you should buy a PlayStation 3 or a PlayStation 4 for this game. I don't fucking care. Just play this game. I mean, it's better on PlayStation 4. With just slightly better graphics and all the DLC and all that stuff. But this is the best thing that you can buy on PlayStation 4. It's the biggest exclusive, and it's going to be the biggest exclusive on PlayStation 4 until Uncharted comes out. Basically.
Boom. Done. No ifs, ands, or buts.
No. Do you really think The Order is going to be better than this? Or Little Big Planet 3? Or Bloodborne?
I can see maybe...
I'm not saying they won't be bad games, but bigger than this? Better than this?
I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's impossible, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not gonna say it's impossible. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So
I mean, anything Naughty Dog does.
this is fucking awesome.
So this game hits you in the feels, and you should buy it. If you're just looking for a great campaign, it has a lot of fun to it, great gameplay, and a great story, mixed with a very fun multiplayer that you can play with your friends for a long time. This is a good package. This is a good steal. Plus the DLC. No reason.
Oh, yeah.
No excuse not to play this game now.
I know. Yeah. Fuck.
So what would you give this game?
Me, I would say just because there's only a handful of things that I can find wrong with this game, I would give it a solid. I would definitely give it like a 9.8 out of 10. This is, like I said, there's only small gripes, some small graphical glitches that maybe happen that might not be there next time, or maybe a slight but it's damn near perfect, if not perfect.
I would give this game a 10 out of 10. I don't see any other score that I could give it. So yeah. Anyways, just play Last of Us. Whether on PlayStation 3, you can also check out that review. Sam and I went into a lot more detail about the campaign than we did here. So, play The Last of Us, and we'll see you guys later.
Yep.